Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video is for part 6 of the Color Lab cowl. This Scheepjes cowl has been designed by Rochelle from Cypress Textiles, and in this part we're going to be continuing from part 5. Part 5 we made these squares, triangles. We're going to be joining them together, making here these panels, these borders around them, so either side, and then we're going to join everything to the main blanket up here. So a lot to do in part 6. Let's get started. We're going to start this part by joining the motifs we made in the previous part. Align them according to the schematic. So here is one of the triangles, and I've got one of the large motifs. Then I have another motif and another triangle, so I've got them mirrored. So I've only got one part of the motif here. I'm going to start here in the top corner, and then work down the edge and then work up zigzag to make a series of stitches on which we can continue further. So I'm going to zoom in and we're going to start here. I'm going to start here in the top corner. So here is this first edge of the double crochets we made, and there in the corner join with a slip stitch. There we go. Now starting in the position where you have the slip stitch, work 52 double crochets all along the edge until you get here to the corner stitch, which is that 6 together stitch. So 52 doubles, and again there's no right and wrong, there's just placing them where you feel well that works. 52 doubles, and when you've done that I'll see you at the corner. So I'll see you here at the corner for joining this to the first square. I now have 52 doubles here along the edge, and my next stitch here is the 6 together stitch. Now we're going to work a double crochet 2 together between this corner stitch and the next corner stitch here. So again, make sure you have the right side of the big square facing, that you don't join things upside down. And I do believe I had a stitch marker here somewhere. Here it is, because I'm just going to mark the corner stitch. So double 2 together here over this first stitch, so there, insert, pick up a loop, and then come to the square here along the edge, insert your hook there along the side and pick up a loop, and then take them all off. There we go. I'm just going to mark this stitch because this is going to be one of my zigzag corners. We're now going to move up. Let me just pull these yarn tails. We're now going to move up along the next edge here of this square, and this is a very long edge right up to the corner here, and now you work 102 doubles. So 102 doubles along this edge, evenly spacing them, and again remember to just keep track of your stitches, but 102 along the edge. Keep on counting, and then I'll see you back at the top corner. So I've worked 102 doubles, so here along this edge, you see there's the previous corner we made, so 102 along the edge. Now we're right here at the top corner again, and in this top corner stitch we're going to work 3 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3 doubles, and then just pop a stitch marker in that second one of the 3 to mark your corner stitch. We're now going to come down along the next edge and again work 102 doubles until you're here back down, and then we're going to join this to the next square. So again 102 doubles along this edge. After those 102 doubles, this is the point where you're at now. So you've joined this triangle to the square here with a 2 together stitch, worked up 102, 3 at the top and 102 down. And now you're going to repeat all of this for your second square. So again here between those two corners are 2 together, exactly the same way as you joined this corner here. Then 102 up, 3 at the top, 102 down. So everything you've just done, repeat once more, and then you only need to join the little triangle on the other side. So I've worked this entire edge again, and this is the point where I am now. And now you need to join this to your last triangle. You're going to do it in the same way you joined the first triangle. So a double 2 together over the 2 corners, and then 52 doubles up to the edge. And when you get to the point there, you can fasten off. Just zoom in to show you this last transfer here, but then 52 up, and then you can fasten off. So the double 2 together again over this corner stitch, pick up a loop, and then come to the next corner. Make sure you have the right sides facing, and then pick up another loop and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Mark this stitch with the stitch marker. There we go. And then finish by working 52 doubles along the edge here. When you get to the corner where you work your last stitch, then also fasten off. And when you've finished all the stitches, you have 4 parts with double crochet stitches. And at this point it's important to keep them flat so that they don't rotate on themselves, so that you don't go like this. And I've got a twist in there. So make sure everything's flat, nice and flat. Now we're going to come back to the point where we started, so you still have the right side facing, and this is where we're going to restart. Row 2, new color yarn on my hook. You're going to attach with a slip stitch in the first double, so the very first double. Attach there with a slip stitch. We're now going to repeat chain 4, skipping 3 stitches, and then work a slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and then come to stitch number 4 and work a slip stitch in there. Then again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 3 stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3. Sorry, skip 3 stitches and then come to stitch number 4 and work a slip stitch. And this you're going to repeat all the way until you're to the other side. So through all your zigzags you're going to repeat this. So chain 4, skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches and a slip stitch, and continue with this until you're literally to the other side of this panel. And then you're going to have quite a lot of these little arches, and then I'll see you back when you're on the other side, because leave your yarn attached, then turn your work, and then we're going to come back and work into these arches. Row 3, you now have the wrong side facing. What we're going to do is work a double crochet on every slip stitch, so we're going to work between the arches and then a chain 4 between them. So in the stitch where you're currently in, so this is this very first stitch here, this corner stitch. You already have a slip stitch in there, because here's the here's the chain, so that very first stitch there, because here's the chain. Work a double crochet in that stitch. So I've got the marker in there. I'm just going to remove the marker because it's in the way. So then in the first stitch, work a double, and then you can mark this stitch as being a corner stitch. There we go. Now chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come to the next slip stitch. So you see here's the slip stitch, so we're going to work a double crochet in there, and the easiest is often to just kind of work over this slip stitch there. So I'm going to work a double crochet in there. So kind of just covering the slip stitch. That's sometimes easier than trying to really get into it. Then again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come to your next slip stitch. So if you just pick up your arches, you see exactly where it is. There. And a double. And this you're going to continue till you're to the other side. So you've just come with making all the arches, and now you're making more arches. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then come to your next slip stitch, and you work a double on the slip stitches like this. So now you've got slightly larger arches because of your doubles. That means they're slightly higher. You can repeat this until you're all the way to the other side. So again, through all of your edges, and when you're to the other side, you're just going to work a double crochet on your very last stitch. So it's the equivalent of here. Here you had a double on the first stitch. You're also going to have one on the last stitch. So continue this, and when you get to the other side, fasten off, and then you can also turn your work. I've done the repeat 3 times. So here are these groups of 3 stitches. And now you're at the V, and so this is where you are right now, the valley of your work. And this stitch marker here gives the corner. I'm just going to remove this marker because it'll be slightly easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this corner stitch and come to the next double. So we're actually going to skip this corner and pinch it together, and then come to that double there. And in that double we work the same as what you just did. So a treble, chain 2, and a treble. So yarn over, skipping this one double, come to the next here and work a treble. So that's a treble, chain 2, and a treble in the same stitch. There we go. And then your work looks like this. In this case you've skipped only one double, this one here. You're going to be repeating this row later on, and then you'll want to skip one double, but you'll skip 2. But by the time you get there, that will show itself. But at this moment we're skipping 1, but later repeats there'll be 2 doubles. Now you're on the edge with the square. So this is the long edge, so right up to that corner there. What you're going to do on this long edge is repeat again this group of 3 stitches 8 times, and that'll bring you to your next corner. So along this edge here, you're going to work the cluster stitches, treble, and then again cluster, cluster, treble, cluster, cluster, treble. So that idea you're going to do 8 times, and that will bring you to your corner here, and that's where I'll see you back just to show you the corner, and then you're going to go back down again. But for now, repeat this group of 3 stitches, three stitches, repeat them 8 times. Row 4, you have the right side facing, and we're going to be working in the double crochets we made in the previous row. In the very first stitch, this double crochet there, join there with a slip stitch. There we go. Now in this same stitch, make a beginning treble. So that's a double and a chain 1. In the same stitch we're now going to do a chain 2 and a treble twice. So chain 2 and then a treble in that same double. Chain 2 and again a treble in the same stitch. So now I have treble, chain 2, treble, chain 2, treble. So this entire thing here is in your corner. We're going to move over, and on the next 3 doubles going to work a small repeat that you're going to be doing quite several times. So chain 1, so this is to start this repeat. Chain 1, come then to the next double, so it's that one, to work a 2 treble cluster. So I've got yarn over, then in the double, 1, 2, and take them all off. So this is the 2 treble cluster, chain 2, 1, 2, and again a 2 treble cluster in the same stitch, 1 and 2 legs, and take them all off. So that's your first little repeat, or the first part of the repeat I should say. I'm going to do the same on the next stitch. So again, chain 1, then come to the next double, so that double there, and we do the same. So again a 2 treble cluster, so 1, 2, you then take off, chain 2, 1, 2, and again a 2 treble cluster in the same stitch, 1, 2, and take them all off. There we go. Then for the last part of the repeat, chain 1, and then come to the next double, and here you work a treble, chain 2, and a treble. So this is different. So a treble, chain 2, and a treble. And these 3 little groups, so this group of 3 stitches, or stitch groups I should say, but this entire thing here, going to repeat 3 more times, and that will bring you to your first corner here. So this first V, this will bring you here. So that means you're going to do this thing 3 more times. So in the next double, you're going to work the 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles, then chain 1. There's always a chain 1 between these sets. So this is a 2 treble group, 2 treble group, and then here is a treble. So this means, so it's this bit here. So the treble, chain 2, treble. So that's what I mean by that. And then again, 2 treble cluster, 2 treble cluster, treble. So this was the second repeat. And then the third repeat is going to 2 treble cluster, 2 treble cluster, treble. And then when you're here, that's when I'll see you back. So then you're just before this corner that's here in the V. So this is where you'll be then. So repeat this group here 3 more times, and then I'll see you back. Now right at the top of this first square, and you've done that repeat 8 times, and here in the mark stitch, that's now the corner stitch. That's the next stitch that you have to work. I'm just going to remove that marker. Then in the corner we're going to work a series of trebles and chain 2s. But first a chain 1, and then in the corner, well, the corner double, work a treble, chain 2, and again a treble, chain 2. Going to do this until you have 4 trebles in that stitch. So again a treble, chain 2, and again a treble. So you've got 4 trebles in that stitch with chain 2s in between, and that center stitch there, that's your new corner. So you can pop a stitch marker in there if you want. We're now going to come down along this long edge of the square and do the same again, but in reverse order. That's what we did coming up. So that means on this edge here, I'm just going to get you started. Chain 1, then in the first double, work a treble, chain 2, and a treble. And now you're going to work that repeat again that we did before with the 2 treble groups and then the treble. So there's this group of stitches here. So 2 treble group, 2 treble group, treble group. So repeat this again, so chain 1 and up, 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 8 times, and that will bring you again to the valley of the next, between the next 2 squares. When you've done that repeat 8 times, you will be here at the bottom of your first, between your first and your second square. Now everything you've just done on this first square, so everything there, going up and the corner and going down, you're going to repeat again on your second square. So you're going to make that step over and then go up, make the corner and come down, and that will bring you here to this point, and then you've only got the triangle left. So everything you just did on this first square, which I've already worked now, repeat on your second square, and then I'll see you back here, and this is basically just a repeat again, but then I'll just show you this part. So I'm here at the bottom of the second square. Here's the marked corner, and this is then the last triangle. Now what we're going to do is we're again going to skip this corner, so I'm just going to actually remove the marker. We're going to and keep my hook on my yarn, of course. You don't accidentally pull things out, so we don't want that. I need to get my yarn back on. There we go. So we're going to skip this this double crochet and then come to the next double, and on here work a treble, chain 2 and a treble, treble, chain 2 and a treble on the same stitch. There we go. And now you're going to be repeating these sets of stitches again. So it's chain 1, then the treble 2 togethers twice, and then the treble, chain 2, treble. So this group of stitches, again with the chain 1s in between, repeat that until you are to your corner, and then I'll just see you back here for the last stitch. I'm almost to the end. I just need to do the last stitches of the repeat. So here's the marked stitch. This is the last stitch, that's why I marked that one. So in that stitch, the last part of the repeat is a treble, chain 2 and a treble in the same stitch. There we go. And now I've done the repeat 4 times. Now in this same stitch where we just worked that last part of the repeat, chain 2 and one more treble. There we go. At this point you can fasten off and turn your work. Row 5, you have the wrong side facing, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to join with a slip stitch here in the last chain space from the previous row. In that chain space, going to work a double treble and a double. Double, yarn over twice, a double treble, and a double. There we go. We're now going to work a set of of 3 stitches again, and that's going to be the repeat that you're going to be doing a lot again, just like you did on the previous row where you had this group of 3 stitches. You're going to have the same here. So it's chain 1, then come to the next chain 2 space, which is this space here, and there work a double treble, so that's yarn over twice, which you take off 3 times, and a double in the same chain space, so that again gives you a little bubble to the front. Chain 1, and then come to the next chain 2 space, so that's between the double treble, or between the double together stitches of the previous row, and there we work a double, 2 double treble cluster, so it's yarn over twice in this stitch, pick up, take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, then stop, yarn over twice in the same stitch, pick up a loop, take off 2, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off, and then in this space another double, so that gives you a really big bobble on the other side. We repeat this again for the next space, so chain 1, come to the next space, work a double treble cluster, so yarn over twice, take off 2, take off 2, yarn over twice, take off 2, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off. In the next space, oh sorry, in the same space I should say, work a double. And this set of 3, 3 positions that we work now, that's again the repeat that you're going to be doing a lot on this row, going back up. Now this you're going to now repeat 3 more times until you are, well, here to the diagonal or the V here, this where these two lines meet. When you're there, that's when I'll see you back. So you're going to do this a few more times, and then when you're finished, you're going to finish there, and then you're going to have this chain 2 space. That'll be your next position that we're going to work in. So repeat these 3 bobble stitches, let me call them, because they give bobbles on the other side. Repeat them 3 more times. I've now done the repeat 7 times. So I've worked all those bobbles there. You see them on the front. And now you're here at the valley. We're going to work stitch the 2 together stitch over these 2 spaces here that are in the valley. We're basically going to be pinching this valley together. So let me show you. Chain 1. Now we're going to work a double crochet 2 together over the next 2 chain 2 spaces. So come here to the first space, pick up a loop, come to the second space, pick up a loop, and take them all off. So you've pinched this together. Chain 1, and now we're going to start on the next square with first just the first 2 chain spaces. The first one gets a, did I do a chain 1 there? Yes, I did. Gets a double, and then that's 2 double treble cluster, so yarn over twice. That's 1 and 2, and take them all off, and another double in there. Then chain 1, and come to the next space, and we do the same. So a double, yarn over twice for the 2 treble cluster. 1, 2, and then another double. And this is all getting a little tight here because we're making those bobbles. There we go. At this point, so now you've really gone, if I just turn my work, so you've really gone around the corner, and now you're going up along the edge of the square. These 3 stitches that I said, that's your repeat, that you're now going to do 7 times. So you can see how you've got these groups of 3 chain 2 spaces. So work this group of 3 bobbles, work them in here 7 times, and I'll see you when you've done that, because then you have a new corner to make. I've now done that repeat 7 times, and I'm almost to the top here. On the next 2 chain spaces we're going to work the same. So chain 1, double in this space, a double treble, and another double, and this you're going to work in the next space also. So chain 1, and then this is the space just before the corner. So here goes a double, double treble, and another double. There we go. So now you've worked that repeat twice. We're now going to come up to the corner, so right here at the top. So I've got this marked. I'm just going to remove the marker. So chain 1, and now in here we're going to work the same as we just worked, but only one more. So it's a double, a double treble, 2, 3, then a double, and now again a double treble in the same space, 3, and a double. So that's why, so you've got 2 bobbles and 5 stitches in total there in the corner. And the center stitch, that center double, that's your corner. So I'm just going to pop the marker in there. We've now made the corner, so to come down, first here we need to work small stitches. So chain 1, this is the I'm going to call it the normal one, so this is a double, then the double treble, double. There we go. And now we're going to come down and work that repeat of 3 stitches. We're going to do that over this, and that'll be 8 times. So it's now a chain 1, then a double, double, treble, double, chain 1, and then here's the double treble cluster and the double treble cluster, and then the double treble again. So we're going to do this repeat of 3 stitches. I believe it's this stitch, these combination here, but so those 3, work that here 8 times, and that will bring you to the valley of your first square. This is the point where you are now, so at a valley between 2 of your squares. Everything you've just done, so from the start of here right up to the top and back to the bottom, all of this, do this again on your second square. So you're going to go up and down on the next, and then you'll be here. So all of this, you're going to start with a double 2 together and then go back up and come back down. So do all of this once more. Done that repeat 8 times, and then you're here at your next valley, you see, and this is up to the tip of the triangle, so you've got a small more stretch to go. And basically you're going to repeat what we've done up till now again. So it's chain 1, then over the next 2 stitches, these 2 chain spaces, double crochet 2 together. So I'm going to pinch them together. So yarn over in the first one and a yarn over in the second one, and take them all off. There we go. Then chain 1, and let me just turn my work a bit. And on the next 2 chain spaces, so this one and that one in there, I'm going to work the double cluster version. So it's a, did I do the chain 1? Yes, I did. So it's a double, then the double treble cluster, 1 and 2. Going a little fast because you've done this like a gazillion times already. Yarn over and take them all off, and then a double. Chain 1, so we do this again. And here in the next one is a double. Yarn over twice because we're going to do a double treble cluster. 1 and 2, take them all off, and a double again in the same space. Now we're going to do that repeat set of 3 again. I'm going to do them 3 times. So it's a chain 1, and then in this one it's a double, and now it's a double, treble, double. Here are the 2 cluster stitches again, and then you repeat it again, and you repeat it again, and then I'll see you back here at the end for your corner stitches. So this stretch of 3 stitches that you've done like 100 times before, do them again 3 more times. I'm right at the top. I've done that repeat 3 more times, and at this point you have 2 chain spaces left here. In those, a chain 1, then a double, double, treble, and a double in both of them. That's the first one, and then again a chain 1 and a double, double, treble, double in the last space. And then there we go, and 1 more double. There we go. So 2 more bubbles in this last spaces. Again, fasten off, cut your yarn and fasten off, and then turn your work to have the right side facing. Row 6, going to start in the stitch where we finish. You now have the right side facing. Going to start in the stitch where we finish, so this double crochet here with a slip stitch. And that double, I just need to get a hold of my yarn in that first stitch. There we go. Going to repeat a chain 4 and a slip stitch in the next chain space, and we're going to do that 13 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, then come to your next chain space, and it's kind of here between these groups of stitches. In there, work a slip stitch. I'm going to do this 13 times, which will bring you to the valley between the triangle here and the first square. So I've now done it twice with you. So chain 4 and a slip stitch, and continue until you are, give or take, here. Then I'll see you back. I've done the repeat 12 times. Need to just do once more. So 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. And now this slip stitch here is, here's a double 2 together, so just before there's a chain space, so that's where this slip stitch goes. We're now going to, oh, let me just, my hook fell off. Now we're just going to move over, and we're actually going to skip this double crochet 2 together, and we're just going to come to the next chain space with the slip stitch. And that'll be here. So just literally skipping that double 2 together with the slip stitch, and then again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a slip stitch in the next chain space. And repeat this, so chain 4, 3, 4, and a slip stitch in the next chain space until you're right at the top of the square where we mark the corner stitch. So you're going to do this 26 times, and I'll see you back when you're at the top of this square. I've just worked a number of these stitches. I just need to work a few more until I'm to the corner. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here in this slip stitch, on this chain space, work a slip stitch. Where is it at? There is it. Then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you don't have a slip stitch, but you have this double crochet that's marked here, this corner stitch. So in there, pop your hook for a slip stitch in that marked stitch. Come on. There we go. I'm just going to remove the marker because then it's just slightly easier for the next stitches. Now we're going to come down and just repeat again. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next chain space work a slip stitch. So that's again here between the stitches. Now repeat this again, chain 4, slip stitch until you're to the next valley. Just slightly zoomed out, but you're now at the valley between the first and the second square. And at this point you're going to repeat everything that you just did on that first square. So you're going to skip that double 2 together and then the slip stitches and then move all the way up along this edge, your corner, and then back down again. So everything that you just did on this first square, so everything you just did here, the corner and everything, repeat that on your second square also. So I've just worked the entire second square and now I'm at the valley between the square and the last triangle. We're in a slip stitch in the chain space before the double 2 together. Then skipping this double 2 together, come to the next chain space and work a slip stitch in there. So this is very similar to what you've done before. Then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a slip stitch in the next chain space. And again repeat this chain 4 slip stitch in the next chain space all the way to the top, and I'll just see you back for the last slip stitch. Right at the top, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come to the very last stitch, which is this double crochet here, and let me just find it properly. Work a slip stitch. Work a slip stitch in there, and this stitch is just not very much cooperating with me. There we go. And that's it. Turn your work for the next row. Leave your yarn attached. Row 7, you have the wrong side facing. We're just going to start in the same stitch where we finished, so where you have this slip stitch in that stitch. In that same stitch, just come a little bit down and work a double in there. Trying to get my hook in it. In that same stitch that has the slip stitch, work a double if my hook cooperates. There you go. So work a double. There we go. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come to your next slip stitch and work a double crochet over it. So in that, so you're kind of going to go into the chain space and just work double over it. Again, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come to the next, and then also here work a double over that slip stitch. You're going to continue like this, work a chain space or chain 4 everywhere, 2, 3, 4, and then work a double over the slip stitches. And I'll just show you the first valley crossing, but from there I'm sure you'll be able to do it without me. I'm almost at a valley crossing. I'd just like to show this to you. So it's 4 chains, 4. And then here's a slip stitch, so I'm going to work a double crochet over this slip stitch. And then immediately next to it there's another slip stitch. So I'm going to work a double over there also. So you've got 2 doubles next to each other. And then again, just normal 1, 2, 3, 4 chains and cover your slip stitch, your next position. And this idea, you're going to repeat this all the way to the end. So when you get to a valley, you're going to have these 2 doubles next to one another. When we're going to be repeating rows, these will also be the 2 doubles that you're going to be skipping, but you'll see that when you repeat the next rows. But for now, work chain 4 and a double on all your slip stitches all the way to the end, and on your valleys you'll have these 2 next to each other, and you're going to finish right at the other side, and you're going to finish the way you did here. So chain 4, then your last double falls on your last slip stitch right on the other side of this very long edge. So for now, continue, and then you're ready to start repeating rows. For rows 8 to 16, you're going to be repeating the rows that we just made, so 4, 5, 6, and 7. Going to be repeating them 2 and a bit times. So check the pattern, which color you need for which round, and which one you're repeating in which order. Just a nuance that here in the center you now have these 2 doubles next to each other. You're going to be skipping those when you get to the repeat of row 4, because remember when I said when we work row 4, now you skip 1, later you skip 2. It's going to be those 2 that you skip. So, but as such, repeat rows 4, 5, 6, and 7 2.5 times, give or take, and then I'll see you back for row 17. When you've completed all those rows up to row 16, this is what your work looks like. So you've repeated the pattern a few times, and at this point we're going to continue with something new in round 17. Row 17. It's the same idea as we've done before, but we're just going to work them in chain spaces. This is the same idea. So it's slightly different, but the same. In the first chain space, so you have the right side facing, that's important here. In the first chain space, attach your yarn with a slip stitch. Then in this space where you're currently in, a beginning treble. So that's a double and a chain 1. Then chain 2 and a treble here in the same space. And we do this again, chain 2 and a treble in the same space. We're now again going to work a series of 3 stitches that you're going to be repeating quite a few times, and this is a repeat we've done before. So chain 1, then in the next chain 2 space, it's that space there, a 2 treble cluster. So 1 leg and the second leg, take them off, chain 2 and 2 treble cluster, 1, 2, take them all off. Going to repeat that so also for the next chain 2 space. That's chain 1, and then come to the next space, and again a 2 treble cluster. So 1, 2. My yarn ball is still very new, so the yarn is a little bit doesn't want to come out that easily. Chain 2 and another 2 treble cluster. 1, 2, and take them all off. So now I've done this twice. Again a chain 1, and then in the next chain 2 space, that's here in the middle there, a treble, chain 2 and a treble, chain 2 and a treble. There you go. Now this group of 3 sets of stitches, so these 3, repeat this 3 more times, and then that will bring you to the valley between the triangle and the next square. I'm now at the end of this first triangle, so here is the valley between the triangle and the square. Now we're going to work in these 2 loops here. So I've worked, let me just undo that chain, otherwise that'll confuse you. I've finished here with these 3 repeats, and this is where I'm at now. So chain 1, this was the one that I already made accidentally. Then between these 2 stitches we're going to work a treble 2 together. So yarn over, in the first loop pick up a loop and take them off, and yarn over and come to the next opening, take off 2 loops, and then take them all off. Chain 1, and now we come to the next opening here, a treble, chain 2, and a treble in that space. 2 and a treble. There we go. And at this point you're going to repeat these group of 3 stitches again. Oh, sorry, these 3. So the double clusters, so the 2 cluster stitches and then the regular treble with the chain 1s in between. Repeat that over the next 3 stitches and then 8 times, and then that will bring you to the top of the square. I've done the repeat 8 times, and the next space should be the corner space. That's where you're at now. So we're going to work in the corner. I'm just going to remove the marker for the moment. And in the next space, chain 1 and a treble in the space, and a chain 2. We're going to do this 3 times, so you're going to have 4 trebles in this space. This is the second treble, chain 2, and then the third treble, and a chain 2, and then this is the fourth treble in that same space. So all of that in the same space, and then the center stitch there, that's the corner. So I'm just going to pop the marker in that center chain space. We're now going to come down and do the same as we've done before. So I'm just going to start with chain 1. In the next chain space here, a treble, chain 2, and a treble. And now we're going to repeat this set of 3 stitches again. So these treble clusters and then the treble, these 3. We're going to repeat this all over these 3 and the next 3 and the next 3, all the way to the valley between the first and the second square. So you're going to do this 8 times in total. You're now here, you've done this entire edge and you're in the valley between the first and the second square, and everything you just did on this first square, so starting here from the valley, from that valley all the way up and all the way down, repeat that again on your second square also, and then I'll see you at the next valley with the last triangle. I'm now at the next valley. This is the valley between the square, and this goes to the point of the blanket. So this is the last triangle. Here you're going to do the same we've done before. So chain 1, and then a treble 2 together over these 2 chain spaces. So to pinch this valley together. So that's the first leg, then yarn over, come to the second, and then bring them all together. Chain 1, and then on the edge of the triangle and the next chain space here, a treble, chain 2, and a treble in the same space. There we go. And at this point you're going to repeat that set of 3 stitches that we've done before many times. Repeat them 4 times over the next, so here, here and here, and that will bring you exactly to the edge, so to the corner space, and I'll see you back there. And when you've done that, repeat exactly 4 times. You should have ended up in the last chain space. At this point it is chain 2, and then in this last chain space where you already have 2 trebles, work a 3rd treble. There we go. You can cut your yarn, fasten off, and then also leave this side facing and just go back to the beginning of the row for the next row. Row 18 that I've already worked here, this is a repetition of row 17. So repeat row 17 one more time. Row 19, you have the right side facing, and we're going to join our yarn in the first chain space here with a slip stitch. Now in this same chain space, I'm going to work a double, chain 3 and a double. Double, chain 3, 2, 3 and a double. There we go. Now come to the next chain space here and work a double in there. We're now going to work a small repeat. That's chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then come to the chain 2 space, so that's the one that's here in between these two larger stitches, and work a double on there. And this chain 3 and the double, going to work that 12 times. So this was once, so chain 3, and then come to the next chain 2 space here and work a double. Now this was twice, going to do this 12 times, and that will bring you to the valley between your first two motifs, and that's when I'll see you back. I've done the repeat 12 times, and this is where you're at. You're at the valley of your between the first and the second triangle and the square. And now you're going to work a double 2 together over the next 2 chain spaces. So here. So pick up a loop in this first space, come to the second and pick up a loop there. And then take them all off. There we go. And now we start a repeat again. So in the next chain space work a double, with a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then come to the next chain 2 space and work a double, and then chain 3, and repeat this until you're to the top of this motif, so until the corner space. There I'll see you back. So chain 3 and a double in the chain 2 spaces. I'm almost to the top here. There's the marked corner. Still got a chain 3 to do, and now I've repeated this stitch 25 times. Now in the corner spaces here in the top, the next chain 2 space there gets a double. And now we're going to come to the corner itself, and the corner gets a double, chain 3 and a double. Double, I'm just going to remove the marker, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and another double. And then this is of course the new corner, so I'm just going to mark that. We're now going to come down and do the same we did coming up, but in reverse order of course. So the next chain space here gets a double. There we go. And now we're going to start that repeat unit again. So it's chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then come to the next chain 2 space and work a double. And again chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the next chain 2 space work a double. And continue with this until you're to the valley again. This is the point where I am right now. If you've done that repeat 25 times, you're at the next valley between your 2 squares. Now everything you just did on this first square, repeat that on the second also, and then I'll see you back for the last bit of this edge. I've done that entire repeat once more, so so this is the valley up to my last triangle there. Now we're going to do basically the same as before. In the next two chain spaces, because I've just finished here with a double, then these next two chain spaces work a double two together. So here pick up a loop, and in the next pick up a loop and take them off. Then come to the next chain two space and work a double with a chain 3, 2, 3, and then you come to the next chain two space and work a double in there, and repeat that. So chain 3, 2, 3, and then the next double until you are to the end of this corner. Almost to the end, almost to the corner here, so I'll just show you the last few stitches. Finish there with a double crochet, but I still need to do a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now I've done the repeat 12 times. You have 2 more chain 2 spaces left. Come to the next chain 2 space and work a double, and then your last chain 2 space a double, chain 3 and a double. And there we go. You can cut your yarn, fasten off, and this actually finishes section 1. You're going to start section 2, I've already worked it here, by repeating the first 9 rows of section 1. So if you look here is section 1, but that was actually more than 10 rows, so you're just going to repeat like the first part. So the first 10 rows here, that's a repetition of section 1. Now, but of course you will work that with, you'll turn your blanket the other way like this, and then you can work those rows. But repeat the first 10 rows of section 1, and then I'll see, oh sorry, the first 9 I should say, and then I'll see you back for row 10. Row 10, new color yarn, and we're going to attach with a slip stitch in the first stitch. You have the right side facing, by the way. So here in this first double, let me just get my hook in there, attach with a slip stitch, and there we go. Now in that same stitch where you're currently in, we're going to do a double, chain 3 and a double, double, chain 3 and a double. There we go. We're now going to work a series of chain stitches and double crochets, just like we've done before. We're going to do a double in the next chain space, and that is this one here, this next chain space. Work a double in there. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and come to the next chain space here. Work a double. I'm going to do this 12 times. Then again chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again a double in the next chain space. So now I've done a few of them. Continue like this until you've done 12 of these little repeats, and then you'll be at the valley, and then I'll see you back. Done the repeat quite a few times, and now you're here at the first valley. Work that double crochet there, then a chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This is actually still part of the repeat. But now you're going to come here, and you see here there are 2 chain spaces here, one either side of the center stitch. I'm going to work a double 2 together over those 2 chain spaces. So in the first loop here, pick up a loop, and to the second opening, pick up a loop and take them all off. And I'm just going to pop that bobble forward. And now we're going to come up along the edge in the same way we did coming down. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next chain space work a double. There we go. You're going to do that 25 times, then you'll be at the top of the square. I'm now at the top of the first square. Work that repeat 25 times, and the next stitch here between these two bubbles, that's the corner stitch there. Then in that corner stitch, I finished here with a double in the last chain space. In that corner stitch work a double, chain 3, 2, 3, and a double in the same stitch. And if you want to, you can mark this with a stitch marker. There you go. Now I'm going to come down along the edge in the same way as we did going up. So that's a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then come here to the next space and work a double in there. And continue this chain 3 and a double in all your chain spaces until you're to the valley. I've just done that entire stretch down on the first square. Now you're at the valley between the first and the second square, and from here on you're going to repeat everything you just did on the first square on the second. So it's a chain 3, then the double crochet 2 together and the chain 3, and then go back up on your second square. So repeat everything you just did once more. When you've done that repeat a second time, you're at the third valley, which goes to the end of the blankets, or the row I should say. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, then a double crochet 2 together in this valley, just like the other two, so in this chain space and the next chain space, take them off, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and a double between the next two bubbles there in the chain space, and repeat this chain 3 and a double all the way to the end, and then I'll see you back for the last few stitches. You've done the repeat 12 times, you're almost to the end. You have this last double that we're going to work, so just skip the bubble in between, come to the last double, and in there work a double, chain 3 and a double. There we go. And at this point you can cut your yarn and fasten off, and then you've also completed section 2. You now have sections 1 and 2 complete, and we're now going to work a row of stitches all around this panel, and we're going to start here in the first stitch of the last row of section 1. That's where we're going to start. So I'm going to zoom in here, and then we'll work. This is a very long row, so just stitch by stitch. It's not difficult, but just a lot of stitches. We're going to start by attaching yarn A with a slip stitch here in the first chain space right there in the corner. So attach there with a slip stitch in that chain space. Now in the same chain space, working 3 doubles. These are your first stitches. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm just going to mark the second one of those 3, because that's the beginning point for later on. So I'm just going to mark that second of the 3 stitches. Now along our first diagonal downwards, we're going to skip you have 2 doubles here next to one another. We're going to skip the first one and then come to the second. So skipping the first one, come to the second and work a double in there. And then in the chain space, work 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. This you're going to repeat 12 times. So in the next double, work 1 double, and in the chain space work 3. 1, 2, and 3. Repeat this 12 times in total. I've just done twice with you, and then that will bring you to the first valley. So I'm just at the first valley. I've done that repeat 12 times, and at this point, if you look at your work, you've got 3 stitches next to each other. So you've just worked those 3 doubles in the chain space, and here you've got a double two together, and a double. Now over those 3 stitches, we're going to work a double crochet 3 together. So this is a 1 loop in the first stitch, 1 loop in the second stitch, which is the double 2 together, and 1 loop in the third stitch. 4 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. We're now going to continue and with the same idea. In the chain 3 spaces you work 3 doubles, and on each double a double. You do that 25 times, and then you're at the top. 1, 2, 3 doubles, and 1 here on the double. So 3 in the chain space, 1 in the double. Just done this once, 24 more times. That will bring you to the top of the first square. So I've just done that repeat 25 times, and now at the top here of the square. You have 1 stitch left before the corner. I'm going to skip that and then go to the corner space where I just remove the marker. In the corner work 3 doubles. So 1, 2, 3 doubles, and then mark that second one with a marker because that's your new corner. Going to come down, and actually you have 2 doubles next to one another. You're going to skip the first one, then come to the second and work a double, and in the chain space work 3. You're going to be doing a lot of 3 doubles in a chain space. And repeat this 25 times. So a double in the next double, and then 3 in the space. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 25 times, and that will bring you to the valley. You're now at the valley again, between the first and the second square. And now you're going to repeat everything you did on the first square on the second square. So you start with a double crochet 3 together, and then again all the doubles up and down, and then I'll see you back. At this point I'd just like to show you a part of the blanket. The reason is the video footage that goes from here to there to here has been lost. So I'm just going to talk you through this, and you actually now see the entire blanket already. So I'm recording this after I've already finished the blanket. So just this little section now will look a little bit weird, but I'll just talk you through what's happening here. And then from this point on the video will continue as normal. When you've worked that repeat a second time, you're going to be at this point here. And now you're exactly again between in a valley. So this is the square, and here's the triangle. What you're going to do now is the same as we've done before. Right here on this valley stitch, you're going to work a double crochet 3 together. And this is the stitch that I've marked here. So there's a double crochet 3 together in the same way as on the other 2 valleys. And then you're going to come up along the edge of the triangle, and in all the chain spaces work 3 doubles, and on the double itself you work 1 double. So this is also the same as you've done before, and you will do that 12 times. So 3 doubles, 1 double, 3 doubles, 1 double, 12 times. And after that you will be here. So I'm just going to talk you through this. And after you've done that repeat 12 times, you'll be here, right at the top of that triangle. Right here at the top, you're going to work 4 doubles in the chain space at the top. And these 4 are very similar to the ones you've worked on the other side when we started this entire edge. Then the third stitch of those 4, mark that stitch with a stitch marker. So this marker here is where you're going to be marking that stitch, because that stitch will also be your point where you're going to be joining panels. So that's a reference point, that's why you mark it. So after this repeat, so the 1 double, 3 in the chain space, 1, 3 in the chain space. Right at the end you're going to work 4 doubles in the last chain space. And then you're going to rotate your work to work along the side of the blanket, like so. And so this edge would be here, your work will look like this. What you're going to do now is you're going to work along the edge of the panel, and you're going to work 27 double crochet. So you see these 27 doubles here, evenly distributed along the side of this first part. However you work them, just work whatever feels natural. You see, for example, here I've worked 3 and there I've worked 3. So you're really going to be working into the side of the stitches. Here I've worked 2 and then 1, 1, 1. So 27 from here to here. And then when you're here, you'll be at the point where you're going to be working along the side panel here. And here the video footage starts again. So here where the blue marker is, that's where I'll see you back, and there the video footage will continue again as normal. So my apologies for this inconvenience that I couldn't show you this live. Unfortunately, I had a small mistake with the video footage, but I do hope this helps you to work these stitches nonetheless. So it's double crochet 3 together in the valley, 3 in the chain space, 1 on the double, right until the top, then 4 in the last chain space, mark the third stitch, rotate your work a quarter, and then work 27 doubles along the edge, and then here at the blue marker I'll see you back. Here I have those 27 stitches, and that brings you here to basically the base of part 5. So there you see that in the medium gray. Now over this entire edge here you're going to work 72 stitches, and that's basically 1 on every stitch. So on every stitch, so I'm just going to grab the first one here. That might be a little hard to see where that first one is. So 72, do count them just to make sure that you have it correct. But here along the bottom here, so it's kind of there, and you're kind of working into the base chain. So you see how I'm working those there? Work 72 doubles, and that will bring you to the other side. And if your base chain is maybe a little bit hard to get into, feel free to just work it a little bit deeper. But 72 doubles, and especially here at the edges, that can kind of cause you to work 1 stitch extra, because it can be a little bit hard to see exactly where it begins. But if that's the case at the other side, just make sure that you work 1 stitch less, but that you have 72 doubles over here the dark gray, and then that will bring you here, and that's when I'll see you back. So over this gray area, work 72 doubles. I've worked those 72 doubles, and now you are here, and you have this side of section 2 in front of you, and along this side work 14 stitches, 14 doubles, and again evenly space them wherever you feel like they make sense to you. So that's 1, and then here I do 2, 3, 4, well, and then a few more until here. So this little piece, 14 doubles. So I have those 14 stitches there. Then rotate your work. So now you're going to work along the bottom edge of the panel, but of course now it's upside down, so now you have the top facing, but this is now section 2 that you're going to be working into. You're going to start here in the chain 3 corner space there, work 4 doubles in that space. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the second one of the 4, just mark that with a stitch marker. So 2, that second one, just mark that. There you go. Now we're going to come along the edge here and work again into the chain spaces and into the stitches. You have 2 doubles. I'm going to skip the first one, come to the second and work 1 double, and then in the chain space work 3 doubles, and this you're going to do 37 times. That will bring you to your next corner on the top of the square. So you're going to continue straight through the valley and work a double on the next stitch, and then 3 in the chain space, and continue this 37 times. I've now done twice with you, and then I'll see you back. I've done the repeat loads of times, and now I'm at the top at the next corner. So you have 2 doubles left. On the first double just work a double. There you go. And now you're at the corner. In the corner we're going to work 3 doubles. Now I'm just going to remove the marker. So 3 doubles in there. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to pop a marker in to help me find the corner later. Well, and now we're going to work the same repeat 50 times. So I'm going to skip the first stitch, then come to the second. I actually have a small mistake here because there should have been another stitch there, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to fix that by just working a double in the next stitch and then 3 in the chain space. 1, 2, 3, and this, so a double and then 3 in the space, a double and 3 in the space. Work that 50 times, and that will bring you to your next corner. When you've worked that repeat 50 times, it brings you to the top of the next square, and here you do exactly the same as you did here. So that corner is worked in exactly the same way, and then you come down and you do the repeat again, and this time 37 times, and that will bring you to the tip of the edge here. So I'm just going to talk you through this because this is really all the same. So work this corner in the same way, then come down and work 37 more repeats of that 3 doubles and 1 double, and then I'll see you here just for this corner, but this is again the same as on the other side. I've done the repeat 37 times, and then you're really at the end of this edge. I'm going to work 1 more double on the next stitch there, and then come to the chain corner space here and work 4 doubles in here. So this is the same as the other side, 4 doubles, not 3 as you might think. 3 and 4, and then again mark the 3rd stitch. So let me just, that one, just mark that 3rd stitch so that you can find it easier later on. And now we're going to continue here along the edge again. So I'm just going to rotate my work and talk you through it. For this edge here, I'm just going to talk you through it because it's the same as on the other side. You're going to work 14 doubles along the edge of section 2, then 72 doubles here at on the edge of basically what is part 5, and then 27 here on the edge of section 1. So it's 14, 72, 27. So work those stitches in the same way as you did on the other side. I've just done all of those double crochets here along the edge, all of them, and this is the place where you're at right now. Now what you still need to do is work 1 more double here in this first chain space, remember you've already got 3 in there in the marked stitch, so in that chain space there work 1 more double. And I've got so many yarn tails here, there you go, 1 more double. And now close on the first stitch, this one here, with a slip stitch. And there we go. And now you've completed the entire round, and now you can join this to your blanket. The next thing you need to do is join your panels to your blanket. So this is the panel 3 that you've made, and here's the blanket up till now. So this was panel 2, and if you look up here, there's panel 1. Now the join that you're going to do is the same as this one here. This is the join of panel 2 to panel 1 that you did in part 4 of the pattern. So this join method is what you're going to be doing here also. So I'm going to refer you to the video of part 4 for how to work this join, but it's in exactly the same way. So for now, join your panels to this panel to your blanket the same way as you did at the end of part 4. When you've made that join, this is what your work looks like. I can't really get everything in front of the camera, but you can see you've got this join here. So that's it. And now we just have one more thing to do, and that's here at the bottom edge. We're just going to work a series of chain 3 loops. On the bottom of the blanket, I'm going to start here in the marked stitch. That's the corner stitch. I'm just going to pop that out because that's easier to get my hook then into that stitch with ends attached with a slip stitch. Then in the same stitch where you're currently in, a double, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and a double again in the same stitch. I'm just going to mark this here, this corner with the stitch marker. Now you're going to do the same as we've done before and all the way to the other side. So that's chain 3, 2, 3, skipping 2 stitches, so 1, 2, skip, then come to the third and work a double. And this type of chain space loops you've done before, and you're going to do this all the way to the other side of this edge. So you're going to do this more than 150, 160, 70 times, something like that. So all the way to the other side, and then when you're on the other side, you're going to work this double on the very last stitch. That's where your last double should fall. And then, assuming this is your last stitch, do a chain 3 and then a double in that same stitch. So, and then mark that also. So you're going to end this panel the same way you started. So this is here at the beginning. It's going to look the same at the end on the other side. So this here is kind of to represent the end. I'm going to take this out because that's of course not the end yet. So that means I'm just going to continue for now. So chain 3, skipping 1, 2 stitches, and then work a double all the way to the end. Then work your last corner, and then you can also fasten off. When you've completed all those joins, this is what your blanket looks like. You have your panels joined to the rest of the blanket, and then of course over the full width. Brings us to the end of this part. I hope to see you next time for part 7.